Alhamdulillah, you are welcome back from our short break. I'll move back to Imam Hajjaj to give us his final words on how a Muslim should be on the day of Eid Hijjah.
So, Alhamdulillah, it is recommended that we all appear to observe the Eid on the 10th day of this month. So, going there, Prophet Muhammad even used to command the ladies to also go, even those who are in their menstrual period. Just go, though you will not take part in the prayers. What I will say is, don't appear there qualifying yourself to be an adherent to Shaitan. Appear there for the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you think, you go there, what will draw you to Allah, to the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go there with that. Anything that will take you out of the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go there with that. Anything that will rather render you the wrath, the displeasure of Allah, do away with that and don't appear.
MashaAllah. So the Sheikh has concluded by telling us that whatever you go there to perform Eid with should be something that is accepted in Islam. Imam Dawood, your final words that I would like you to touch on. On the 10th day after Eid, we do some sacrifices. We just slaughtering animals. Does it just have to do with the animal? The one who has the fattest animal, the biggest animal, we get to do it. Or there's some significance aside coming, I have slaughtered a camel, and he has slaughtered it, a ram.
MashaAllah. So there's Alhamdulillah. So we are asked to, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. So we should observe Salat and then we should slaughter an animal. So it's an obligation. So Allah say we should do it, it's obligatory. So there are some animals that we are allowed to, the Bahimatul An'am. So we have the cattle, the camel, the sheep and the goats, the Tamale as well, So these 8 animals, both male and female, they are allowed, you can use them for sacrifice. But the sacrifice, in doing so, a Muslim should appreciate that لَنْ يَنَالَ اللَّهَ لُحُومُهَا وَلَا دِمَاؤُهَا وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. Allah does not eat, not to talk of him needing the meat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not consume blood, so obviously he doesn't need the blood. So why ask you to sacrifice? يَنَالُهُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. All Allah needs is the consciousness of Allah with which you make the sacrifice. You do it exclusively seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the reason for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us to do the sacrifice. So technically, the reward you get does not really, it's not really determined by the number of animals you slaughter or the size of the animal. No, illa the taqwa. But with the consciousness of Allah with which you make the sacrifice. So I think that as Muslims, we need to purify our intention. We are not competing with the size of the animals. We are competing in taqwa. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honored in the sight of Allah is the one who is most God conscious. So I think that this must be made clear, and every Muslim should try and purify our intention. We are not slaughtering to divide the meat for somebody who also is in a position to also take some for you. Then we reciprocate. No, we are doing so when we divide the meat, we give it to people who are unable to slaughter on that day. In conclusion, therefore, we need to say a lot of takbirat in these days from today until the day of Arafah, until the day of Eid and 3 days after Eid. So we have the mutlaq and the muqayyad. So from now until the day of Eid and the Ayam Tashriq, 3 days after Eid, we should be able to takbiru Allah ala ma hadakum. We should magnify our Lord for that which He has done for us. We should do it from day to day until the Ayam Tashriq. Many of us do not know that once the month of the Hijjah sets in, we can read the takbir. It is narrated that Sayyidina Umar or other Sahaba could go to the market, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Then before you realize, the entire market is magnifying Allah. What is more beautiful than this in the sight of Allah? So we need to be among those who are praising Allah by saying Allahu Akbar, and then we don't come to on the day of Eid, they are doing takbirat, we are engaging in needless conversation, all these things. No, we don't come to Eid, you don't do nafila, just come and start doing takbirat from your home to the masjid, back home, after every obligated salah until 3 days after Eid. And when we do this, we are celebrating Eid and we are engaging in an act of worship in a lively manner, and we are earning the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah, when we do this, we are engaging in an act of worship, and we are earning the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My respected one, what I have to tell you in conclusion is that as you prepare to buy an animal, be it a camel, be it a cow, be it a ram, be it a sheep, when you try to put the knife at the neck of the animal, remember that there's an animal in you. The greed in you is an animal. The envy in you is an animal. The jealousy in you is an animal. The rancor in you is an animal. Disobedience in Allah is an animal. So don't just cut off the neck of the animal, cut off the internal animal in you to get the pleasure of Allah. The last message I tell you is that the sacrifice we are coming to do, Prophet Ibrahim wanted to sacrifice Ismail for the pleasure of Allah, and Allah overturned it. So you must sacrifice for Jannah. If you cannot sacrifice your life and all that you have for Jannah, then Jannah becomes the sacrifice. So you choose. Sacrifice everything to get the pleasure in Jannah of Allah, or Jannah will become the sacrifice. May the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you.